I really need to make a wee right now, but I need to hold it for 8 minutes so I can give you a lesson. Sometimes life is going to present you with challenges like this, like you want to make a wee, and I'm going to move now, that you really want to just stop and not continue because you have something like you need to make a wee. And I understand that could be really hard to deal with, but sometimes the problem isn't just that. Sometimes making a wee is the least of your issues. Sometimes you need to make rent, or you need to pay food so you can clothe your young son or your young daughter, and not being able to make rent could be an absolute nightmare, that you guys are struggling to do that. But I want to give you some love, honor and respect from me to show you that I believe in you, because sometimes when you need to make a wee, the worst thing you can do is to just give in and immediately do it. Sometimes the best thing is to hold it in, so that you know for future that you can hold it. I'm telling you that this wee story, is an analogy for life. I want you to think about walking into a shop, and you can see all the chocolates and all the bagels and all the delicious muffins and delicacies that have been baked at that bakery. But then I want you to imagine that you don't buy any of that stuff and you go buy one piece of fruit, an apple, a disgusting fruitless apple, bland, bit sweet, but if you're not a healthy person you might not like apples, but you still decide to eat that apple and you finish it. That's like really wanting to make a wee, but you don't. And I don't mean to be inappropriate, I mean to be making an analogy that sometimes your body tells you stop, your body tells you just go for it, but sometimes you need to use your intellect to stop. When I was younger I had a lot of money because I was making online sales, at least $1,000 a week, and I felt like I was on drugs, like I couldn't control myself. I remember one day I took $2,000 equivalent, which is like 20,000 rand. On that same day I bought a fridge, I went to a club, I spent the whole night at the club, a couple hours at the club, then I went to a hotel and stayed overnight in the hotel. The next day I spent the whole time at the pool, smoked a piece of tobacco, which is basically a cigar, bought designer clothes, everything like that. The next thing all my money was finished. Why? Because I didn't learn how to hold in my wee. I didn't learn that I need to hold it, that I only have the money, I have this energy, I have this enthusiasm, but sometimes it's important for my own survival to hold it. I want to give you an example, and it's a very sad example. Sometimes there are people who decide, I'm going to go and jump off an airplane so I can go skydive. It's sad, because there's a chance that they may not make it. There's a chance that when they hit the ground, everything becomes a disaster, the parachute doesn't open, something terrible happens. They need to think about how to hold it, how to hold their wee in, how to hold that desire and that urge to just jump out the airplane without checking that their parachute's correct, that everything's correct, because there's a chance, even a small little chance, that they could die. If something's going to threaten your own ability to live and exist, I think that you should hold it. And sometimes holding it might be uncomfortable, it might cause you some sort of damage, but in the long run it could save your life. It could save your life. If you are stuck in a bus, but you know that you need to take this bus so you can get a job, so you can support your family, even if you have to hold it, you will hold it, because you know that if you are uncomfortable and you get off the bus, finished. You're never going to catch it, that opportunity is gone. So sometimes it's important. There are opportunities that people get once in a lifetime. I have a good friend, we're going to call him Mr. X, and Mr. X worked for a massive pharmaceutical company, but what happened was he wasn't able to hold it in, because once his plate got very full, unfortunately he decided, I have a family to run, I have kids to look after, my growing children are getting old now, they were 4 when I started, now they're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and getting older, I'm going to stop working for this company, pharmaceutical company. This man, Mr. X, was flying around the world, making deals, facilitating transactions, and getting paid a major, massive salary by this pharmaceutical company, but he decided to give it up. Did he give it up really because of his kids? Or perhaps, and if you're watching this, Mr. X, I deeply respect your decision, because I've never experienced having children. But if it is a case that he stopped, maybe it was because he made the excuse that it was his family and friends that he wanted to be with more, but maybe he just kind of wanted to just give it up after 5-6 years of traveling around the world, being on business class, first class flights, meeting very important people, dealing with billionaires, that he said, I'm going to give it up, I have had enough. And maybe the issue was that he wasn't able to hold it. What if he did hold it in for a little bit longer, hold out, instead of giving up at 5 years or 6 years, what if he stayed there up till 10 years? Then by now he would have earned double. his social standing within that company would have increased. And you never know, maybe instead of being given half a share in the business, he could have been given 5%, 10%. Maybe when the owner of that major pharmaceutical business passed away, he would have given it to Mr. X, and Mr. X now would be living a beautiful life, and he wouldn't have to resort to other ways to make money that are more so desperation and trying to just grapple at anything. Sometimes the most important thing is patience. I had a good friend named Benji, and Benji didn't come from, excuse me, I'm moving the camera, and Benji, apologies, Benji didn't come from a wealthy family, let me be honest, middle class, just like me, but middle class. And Benji always had this concept that he loved talking about, how patience is a virtue, and how it's about waiting it out and enjoying, but patience is a virtue. And immediately my knee-jerk reaction was to say, no, Benji, you don't know what you're talking about, you are basically poor, and I don't care what you have to say. Patience is a virtue. But now in later life, I've realized that sometimes, yes, it's about output, me putting more videos, more products, more of that. But sometimes it is about patience, because from me putting up a video, I have to wait for people to see it, find it, enjoy it, and there's that patience there. When I put up products, if I just keep on putting products, yes, I might make 1 or 2 sales quickly, desperately, like gripping at this grapevine here. But in the long term, it is a matter of patience, in as much as it's about output, and it's about both, because none of these videos would reach hundreds of thousands of people if I just continued posting and posting and posting. It takes time for the system to get this video to you. And it's sometimes about holding in your we. If we means other things. You got to hold in your we. And by that I mean in a business partnership. Now, I knew a guy who had a business, and he had a rogue partner try to steal millions from him. And what happened was he quickly decided, let me quickly fight this guy in court. And he remembered, just like yesterday, that guy coming into court with his leg irons and with his chains on over his hands, handcuffs. But he decided, this man, to let him go free. You got to sometimes hold in your we. If you're starting a business or anything and you want a partner, I think you guys should think about why you want a partner. Don't go so quick into the let's do it together we. You got to hold in that we. Sometimes it's best if you're the boss and then you have some guy like a 2IC, because you get a lot of the power and a lot of the superiority of it, not in a bad way, in a good way, so you can control and you can make sure that things are being done in the right way and in an honest way. But sometimes it's also a case of making sure that you have a division of duties, and instead of having 2 people at the very top where there could be arguments and fights, you just put a 2IC, so you the top, and then there can't be that much clash. Yes, you listen to his opinion and you use him and you take a lot of advice from the 2IC, provided he's a good guy, but sometimes you've got to hold in that we. Holding that ability, holding that wanting to go together. When I was in school, a lot of my friends played Fortnite, watched YouTube videos, and spent a lot of time on their cell phones. And I, just like you maybe, have felt that you've fallen into that we. Well, I held it in, and I made sure to put my phone aside as much as possible, not even take it to school, and run every day and do the healthy things. So lesson for today, sometimes you got to hold in your we, and that's what's going to help you to achieve the result that you most want to achieve in your life. And I wish you good luck.